this, let us understand that Nicolas Maduro was not a very popular man among his people. There was a lot of discontentment against his rule. People also were fed up with faulty financial strategies. His continued adversarial tone against the neighbors. It is in this context that we should understand complex relationship that US had with Venezuela. Primarily, let's say US and Venezuela had an adversarial relationship. US sanctioned Venezuela in 2018. There was a regime of sanctions imposed on Venezuela by US. Along with this, we also have come to realize that Venezuela began to nurture good relationship with other countries like China, Russia, Iran, etc. To overcome compulsions of the sanctions imposed by US, Venezuela tried to further its relationship with other countries, with other major powers, which gave a foothold to outside powers in Latin America, particularly in Venezuela. Now, please remember that the Monroe Doctrine, which was one of very important strategies of US foreign policy, seeks to prevent entrenchment of any outside power in this region. However, after 2018, we had seen that Venezuela began to reach out to other major powers of the world. It became dependent on Iran for its refinement technology. Petroleum and other lubricants refinement technology was taken by Venezuela from Iran. Iran, apart from that, also had undertaken construction of refineries in Venezuela. China also supported Venezuela by offering huge debt and financial assistance, and also financing huge infrastructural projects in Venezuela. It is estimated that China had invested around $109 billion as a part of loan as well as other financial advancements to Venezuela. That's a very big financial partnership that China had built with Venezuela. Thirdly, Russia also began to engage very deeply with Venezuela. Russia offered military support, logistics, and even equipment, defense equipment to Venezuela. So the very famous S-400, the Russian missile defense systems were, purchased by Venezuela. So Venezuela began to develop very, very good relationship with the other major powers of the world, which led to geopolitical tensions between US and Venezuela. The fallout of all these was that US had conducted a lot of exercises in the Caribbean, began a massive buildup of vessels in the Caribbean waters, began to target boats which allegedly were engaged in drug trafficking. Remember, very famous statement made by Donald Trump: with every boat destroyed which was carrying drugs, we are saving not less than 25,000 American lives. That was the kind of statements that the American government was making against Venezuela. The Venezuelan government was being accused of acting like a drug cartel. All these allegations were made, and America began to heighten the tension between both these countries. While continuously the Venezuelan government began to maintain that this is a crisis which is a manufactured crisis. It is a manufactured crisis aimed primarily to justify intervention by US. And that was the kind of response that Venezuelan leadership began to give. But what's the real reason? What's the real reason behind this intervention of US? Was it just to prevent the inflow of drugs? Was it just to safeguard democracy? Was it just to prevent the flow of illegal migrants into US, as US claims? Or is it a move to counter Venezuelan cooperation with terrorist organizations? Is it really about all these, or is there something else? Is there a real motive behind this? Now, a good number of strategic experts feel that the invasion is not about stopping drugs or terrorism or about protecting democracy. That's not the intention. This is, according to a good number of experts, a step taken to ensure the survival of the US dollar, And secondly, this is also considered to be a step taken towards securing control over Venezuelan oil. The world's most oil-rich country was Venezuela, and US wanted to take control over this oil resources so that US could control in future the global oil trade and oil supply chains, as well as energy flows, which is considered to be critical for sustaining American global dominance. And thirdly, it is also considered that this US intervention in Venezuela is to prevent any outside power from entrenching itself in this region. Now, please remember, US financial domination is primarily centered around two things. The first one is the structural power that US wields. Apart from being the world's largest economy, and apart from having a secure and a stable trade relationship with major parts of the world, USA also has considerable structural power. That is the power to influence the decisions of the global level financial institutions, the power to control the SWIFT system, which is the basic medium through which international financial transactions are taken place. Its control over the global bodies like World Trade Organization, the World Bank or the IMF. As the leader of the liberal international economic order, America had a considerable amount of structural power. Apart from this, there is another factor which sustained American global financial hegemony over the last 5 decades, and that is the what's called as the petrodollar system, which ensured the domination of dollar. The petrodollar system was introduced in 1974, and this system came into existence when Henry Kissinger made a deal with Saudi Arabia, and the deal ensured that all oil sold globally must be priced in US dollars. So whatever the oil trade that takes place, the medium for such oil trade should be the US dollar. In exchange for this, US provides military protection. So in exchange for military protection, US wanted that the Saudi and other Arab countries perform their oil trade using the medium called dollar. So this gave America what was very famously called as an exorbitant privilege, the privilege to print a currency which is earned or worked for by other countries. That gives dollar an unprecedented domination. Please remember that prior to dollar domination, we had the domination of sterling pound of UK, of England. The English pound also was dominant, and a good number of countries weighed their value against the British pound. But British pound's dominance is replaced by the dollar dominance. And one of the big reasons for this was the petrodollar system that was introduced in 1974, which made dollar the most coveted currency, which made dollar the reserve currency of the world, which made dollar the main medium of international trade. So this dollar was now desired by every country and every economy, every financial institution. And the only country which had the power to print such dollars was US. Now this was the exorbitant privilege enjoyed by US. It is this which made US global financial hegemon, the most dominant financial power in the whole world. This American status as a global financial hegemon is now under a serious threat. Why? Because countries like Iran, Venezuela, China, Russia, India are embarking on a path to de-dollarize the world. Apart from not only these big powers which matter, also countries which were allies of US also were beginning to make their intentions clear to diversify their oil trade by moving away from dollar and accepting yuan as an alternative currency. For example, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. So these countries are now also making plans and entering into futures contracts for oil trade in currencies other than dollar. Therefore, the dollar domination is now slowly being challenged. And please remember, Venezuela is a very, very important factor in bringing down the influence of dollar. Why? Because Venezuela has 303 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, the largest on the earth. Approximated a little more than 19% of global oil reserves are with Venezuela, the world's largest oil reserves. And apart from that, US also was concerned about steps being taken by Venezuela to sell that oil in Chinese yuan and not in dollars, particularly after the sanctions were imposed on Venezuelan oil from 2018 onwards. Venezuela began to take steps to trade its oil in currencies other than dollar. And since then, please remember that China had emerged as the largest oil trade partner of Venezuela. And Venezuela had shown interest to trade in the Chinese yuan and not with dollar. In 2018, Venezuela announced that it would free itself from the dollar. It would be ready to conduct its oil trade in currencies other than dollar. So Venezuela declared in 2018 it would free itself from the domination of dollar. Venezuela also was beginning to make efforts to join BRICS. It had petitioned for joining BRICS. BRICS, an international organization consisting of large and emerging economies, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Economies which account for more than 1/4 of global GDP. The size of these economies make them an alternative and a viable alternative to US financial domination. And that's the reason why countries like Venezuela, which are threatened by US, which are threatened by dollar domination, wanted to develop good relationship with BRICS. BRICS is emerging as an alternative, a financial alternative to US. BRICS had also begun to make arrangements to overcome American structural power by creating structures like New Development Bank, the Asian Infrastructural Investment Bank, and coming out with arrangements like the Contingency Reserve Arrangement, which could emerge as an alternative to International Monetary Fund. So all these steps were being taken by the BRICS countries. This BRICS is making much headway in overcoming the domination imposed by US, and Venezuela was petitioning to join this organization. Further, Venezuela also began to build direct payment channels with China that bypass SWIFT entirely. Okay, so SWIFT, as I told you, is a mechanism through which international financial transactions take place. So countries in BRICS, along with other countries like Venezuela, were making arrangements to overcome this transactional leverage that US offers by creating an alternative transactional channel. That's the first reason as to why America was very keen on taking over Venezuela, because Venezuela was making a good amount of effort to overcome the dollar domination. The second important reason is America, as I told you, is very keen on taking control over Venezuelan oil. The best way to take control over Venezuelan oil is by discrediting the regime, by making the regime unpopular, and then effecting a regime change. US is very, very popular in doing that. US had effected regime change sometimes by supporting popular uprisings like the Gen Z revolutions, sometimes through covert actions, through secret operations, sometimes by assassinating leaders. Please remember, all those leaders who ever tried to challenge American global financial domination or dollar domination were made to bite dust by US. For example, in 2000, Saddam Hussein of Iraq made an announcement that he was ready to engage in oil trade outside dollar, particularly through euro. But that was not liked by US. And you know that in 2003, USA invaded Iraq on the pretext that Iraq was intent on developing and manufacturing weapons of mass destruction. You know that Saddam Hussein was captured, was tried, and hanged. But weapons of mass destruction were not found there because they were not there in the first place. And this intervention of US in Iraq and its occupation of Iraq for 2 decades since and taking control over entire Iraqi oil reserves shows the US intent of how brutally US reacts to any form of challenge to its domination. Another instance that we have come across was the brutal killing of Gaddafi. Gaddafi always tried to project himself as a pan-African leader, and he had declared his intention to bring about an alternative to dollar in the form of the golden dinar. He had expressed his intention to conduct trade, oil trade, by using golden dinar, by using gold as an exchange medium instead of dollar. And you know that Gaddafi also was sodomized, brutally murdered by a so-called popular uprising or a dissatisfied mob which had hunted and killed Gaddafi. I mean, these were the regime changes that US had made whenever leaders of countries had challenged US. A good number of strategic experts feel that the capture, the arrest, and the present trial that is being conducted against Maduro also is an instance of such regime change, because Maduro also had clearly indicated his intention to move away and free his country from dollar. He had actually taken steps to conduct trade in Chinese yuan, moving away from dollar. That was not acceptable to US. So the second reason was intent of US to take control over Venezuelan oil. Third, as I told you, another very important reason as to why US had intervened in Venezuela is to reduce the influence of China, Russia, and Iran in Venezuela. As I told you, Russia has military and intelligence agreements with Venezuela. Iran supports refinement technology and construction of refinement plants in Venezuela. And of course, as I told you, China had invested hugely through its oil purchases, through its infrastructural projects, through its debt, almost so that Venezuela was sometimes described by experts as a Chinese outpost. Now, such was the massive presence and massive influence that China had over Venezuela. Please remember that a day or two prior to the attack that took place on Venezuela, the Chinese trade representative had actually been there at Venezuela, conducting some high-level meetings with the leaders of Venezuela. It shows that America was against Venezuela building such close rapport or cooperation with powers that were outside and powers that potentially could emerge in future as serious contenders to global domination, which is presently being held by US. When we look at the pattern of the regime changes that are taking place, whether it was in Iraq or whether it was in the removal of Gaddafi in 2009 or whether it was in capture of Maduro, there is a pattern. There is a pattern where popular mood and spirit was turned against the rulers, and the rulers, when they were actually deposed and killed, did not see much of popular resistance in their countries. It shows that there is a pattern. There's a pattern in the way these regime changes were being affected by US. This probably is the real motive behind American invasion and capture of Maduro. US had tried, in fact, to bring the Maduro regime in disrepute by leveling allegations of corruption, by spreading an anti-Maduro narrative, by pushing Venezuela into severe financial crisis, by imposing sanctions. All these strategies were employed by US, but not with much success. And therefore, America had to intervene directly, invade, and capture Maduro. The point that a good number of experts are making today is that before such an operation, it was very swift, very well coordinated, a very planned operation. And please remember that there was not a single casualty of American soldiers. The elite Delta Force was employed, which was the same Delta Force which had actually killed Osama bin Laden at Abbottabad in Pakistan after nearly 10 years of manhunt against this person. The same Delta Force was employed this time for capturing Maduro. Not a single casualty on the American side, while Cuba and Cuban government claimed that 32 casualties had taken place. 32 deaths of Cuban soldiers had taken place who were actually guarding the president. Now, several experts feel that there is an undeniable internal aspect to this campaign. When we see that there is no popular unrest or uproar within Venezuela against this US campaign, apart from dissenting voices of Rodriguez, the interim president, and several other disgruntled hardliners within Venezuela, we don't see a very strong popular opinion or uprising against this American violation of Venezuelan sovereignty. This is indicated by a good number of experts as an evidence that not only is Maduro an unpopular person in his country, there is a very strong internal aspect behind this campaign. Now, having understood the real motive and an internal aspect behind this, the world awaits to see what is going to happen for Venezuela. Future looks uncertain, future looks concerning for a country for which the tragedy had been affluence through massive reserves of oil and at the same time poverty through faulty financial practices and choices. Thank you so much.